getting leads via LinkedIn events. And ultimately, the goal here is to be able to really get some eager leads utilizing the relationships or the connections that you have on LinkedIn. And so what's the current situation for loads of people is that you're currently connected with lots of potential future clients on LinkedIn. And maybe possibly through the LinkedIn marketing or direct in-mail messaging sort of campaigns, people that didn't engage in that campaign. And ultimately, for the vast majority of them, it's because they didn't build trust, or they were too busy, or it wasn't the right moment, or for a plethora of different reasons. But ultimately, there hasn't been a relationship built. And where a lot of people end up is they're not really sure how to leverage these existing connections and how to build a relationship with them and also nurture them to a point that they are ready to raise their hand and say, yes, let's talk about the potential of working together. What I see loads of people do is, and me included, where people that are marketing on LinkedIn kind of just continue to pester people. Hey, did you see this message? Hey, I'm following up for a 7th time. Why am I not getting a response? And it's like, I didn't respond the first few times. Clearly, I'm either busy or I'm not interested or whatever. But ultimately, not providing them with value and nurturing them in a proper way that doesn't feel and seem desperate, but ultimately allowing for them to get to know you, right? So, what the opportunity here is to get the connections that you have on LinkedIn already, to get them to know how you work, how you can help, and ultimately build a relationship and trust. Ultimately, people are eager to make improvements in their life, in their business, and most people want support in doing that. They want to have a framework by which they can actually go about doing that. And ultimately, if you're able to help them make augmentations, improvements, even before working with them, this provides a phenomenal basis for building a great relationship. And so I want to walk you through the method to actually fill an event, not the method of running the event that we can talk about. If you have any questions around that, I can give you a couple tips on that. Do comment below if you do have any questions on that. But ultimately give you an understanding of how we go about actually generating some leads on LinkedIn. So the first thing I want to show you is ultimately the funnel that we've utilized. So the first sort of stage is the LinkedIn registration. They opt into the LinkedIn event. You then have a message that you directly message to them and thank them for opting in and let them know that there is an additional step to reserve their seat at the webinar, masterclass, boot camp, whatever you want to call it, roundtable, that allows for them to capture their contact information, get that on their calendar, all of that. So they go to that webinar registration. If they have completed it, they get a thank you email. If they do not, they get a follow-up message. If they still do not, they get a second follow-up message, and ultimately just letting them know, hey, this is required in order for the show up or for you to register for this event. Just want to make sure that you do. If they don't respond after those messages, let's stop pestering. And then we send a 72-hour email reminder, a 48-hour email reminder, and a 24-hour email reminder. Once the webinar has happened, we have the potential for them to actually have attended. You have anywhere between a 20 to 40% show up rate, depending on how effective your follow-up process is. And the people that either scheduled a meeting, yes or no. For those that did, you send a confirmation of the booking. And if not, you ask them, or you thank them for attending, ask them what their feedback is, and ask them if they would find value in having a follow-up conversation to answer any questions that they had. If they didn't attend, you send an email essentially just asking them, hey, I noticed that you didn't have a chance to attend today. Is this a topic you're still interested in exploring? If they, now you may want to consider it being clicked versus open. But if they did open, you remind them about potentially scheduling an email or scheduling a call, I should say. And if they didn't, you just check in to see whether they happen to get the email, because, realistically speaking, could have got a junk. It could have just been overlooked, could have been forgotten, and just you're going to double check. That is the overarching funnel to the system. And then I just want to give you a little bit of insight into what actually happens on the LinkedIn actual event. So this is a screenshot of a LinkedIn event. You have the title of what it is actually, the date of the event, and then the link for the actual opt-in page for them to register for the event. The thing you want to do is on the share piece here, you can actually invite your connections to the event. And go ahead and invite the connections that you already have to let them know and actually promote it. Leading into the meetings beforehand, you're going to go ahead and make some postings leading up to that event. And just let them know a couple pieces that are directly associated with it, and ultimately get them to a point where they're eager, they're excited, they're looking forward to actually gaining this knowledge that you're going to impart on people, allowing for you to really have some meaningful value provided to them. My belief system is that if you're able to get someone to even just 1%, 2% see the world a little bit differently, you can have a tremendous amount of impact and ultimately be remembered. They still might not be ready to engage with you today, but if you're able to actually impart some wisdom and some help and have them have impact on their business, they will remember you. And ultimately, one of the most important aspects of marketing is being remembered. So what I'd like for you to do after this training, which is about to come to an end, is I want you to think about a couple topics, 2 to 5 topics of what you could potentially be talking about with your ideal client. And then what I want you to do is go ahead and create the landing page, and let's get to marketing it and getting it set up and having your first event. That first one is the scariest one, getting it out there, getting in front of people. It's the most nerve-wracking, and every single one after that gets better. But I challenge you to actually do it because it's super, super effective. If you have any questions about running any of these types of events, please do comment on the video below, and I'm happy to help you guys out. Or feel free to shoot us a DM. All right, everybody. I hope this